Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depends wherever you're at. I want to talk about today how far can we jump? You guys have probably heard from Tom multiple times. Oh, we need to break certain level of support in order to get springed up and get 1, 2, or 3x out of the run. So I want to actually go back to Bitcoin because Bitcoin kind of all the rest of the coins responds to, and actually has quite a bit of history on trading view. I hope he had more history. That would have been nice to actually go back and study the last 8 years of Bitcoin, but we'll work with what we have. I am in a weekly chart, and you guys probably all remember the COVID craziness in February, March in 2020. Bitcoin, as other markets, they also got hit. They were just right before all that started, they were around 10,400, and in 1, 2, 3, within 3 weeks, the Bitcoin has dropped to 3,600. Quite a big drop. Not as big as probably we have here, where if we drop from 65 to 28, but still, 10,000 to 3,000, that's about a two-thirds of a drop almost. But what we actually see here, as we were coming down and there was supports, supports that were broken down, it created a so strong spring that actually, if you watch, they recovered back to the price where they were within 14 weeks, estimate. Um, yeah, so they returned everything that they lost, which again, same thing possible for us to get back to 60s. But most of all, it started a new trend up. Of course, we had, a couple more bounces, but they were not as big. We started a new trend that led us to 65,000. So, what actually I'm trying to get to a point to is, if this spring caused a almost 3x on the money in a small run, and almost 20x on the money in the long run, if we can find and break through those supports, I don't know, 24, maybe 22, 18, 19, if we can get that spring and that spring of push, and it can push us up, we can probably take Bitcoin probably 120,000 a coin. But again, can we find that spring? As Tom has mentioned already a couple times, this push, most likely we won't find that strong of a spring. So we're probably going to get back to 40s and 50s, and then turn around and come back again. And then the next spring, which will be enforced with other markets collapsing at the same time, can create that mere image of what COVID created in that 3-week time frame, and create us where we actually can go 4, 10, 12, 20x in certain cases. So I just kind of found this, and I wanted to actually share with you guys what are the possibilities. I want to actually share another tool that I found that is that actually was seen on somebody else's YouTube. Is TradingView. If you come down, and it's a trend-based fib time. So which actually would start at, if I'm not mistaken, let's try it. You try to start a highest position that the market was at, then the lowest position market was at, and then you come back to the highest position where the market was. And the beauty part is actually will lay it out for you the possibilities of trend change. But I'm gonna switch actually to daily view and confirm that my highs and lows are accurate. And as you guys probably have noticed, not completely when you switch from a weekly view to a daily view. Right now, high, low, and this is higher than this one, so perfect. Let's now check our high at the top, and as we can see, it didn't do well. So as you trigger the high, low, and high from where you want to see, you can actually see trend, and look at actually how accurate it is. The next trend from that high, we had a reversal, which went to 48.8. Then from there, it actually had a small pump, which pumped to 58. Then we kind of had a side consolidation with a small drop in our third section, which now in our fourth section, as we can see, we had a huge fall. Then our next section, we actually were kind of going sideways. And right now, as you guys can see, this is actually the new trend, starts here, while the old trend actually finishing up. And it's finishing up, it's kind of a little bit hard to see. Let me see if I can hide it. So, oh, there's no more hide options. Hide, there it is. So as we can see, it kind of, showed us, and it looks like it hit every single time right on as it changed from a trend to a trend. And right now we are in a new trend here. So I want to actually turn that trend on so we can actually see it and turn this one on. So now I took our high, our low in this part of the trend, and actually our high here, so we can actually see what is possibility for our future. So as we can see, low, sideways. This one, my understanding was supposed to be as a green, possibly going up. I'm not sure. But we are actually having another trend, which looks like it's actually coming down. Now, we can count as of today and look where it's possibly. So on the 20th of July, we have a possibility of most likely a reversal. But I want to actually turn on so we can actually compare side by side. The red run, which is red. Then we went into the green. Man, it's kind of hard to see. The light green, which is here, sideways. Then we kind of went going down, which here we kind of went slightly up. At the end of that run, we kind of bounced fall. So Tom actually isn't onto something. If we see in this section, we had a big drop. And that's possibility. What we are suspecting, probably a drop within the next 3 to 4 days, we are looking into a possible drop, which will lead possibility. Again, I'm looking at the history. So don't punish me for it. History is just something we can always look at, and hopefully it repeats itself the same way as we learn from it. So this light blue section had a very big drop in this period. So let's look at what actually this. So in this section right here, that's the following to the 2nd of August, we might actually have more continuous drop, or it can actually switch and go the opposite. As we can see, drop sideways as we go in and sideways. This is actually where we kind of down on the previous one, we kind of had that up, and then we had the drop. So what if we're having this down, and then suddenly we're going to have this opposite reaction spring up? That can be possible as well. And then a huge month of end of the July having a huge run up, and then actually might then turn around and have a reversal going down. Honestly, I'm not a future seer. I do not see the future. I can only look at the charts. I can feel. I do have a feeling we will have a drop, a run, but I also have the feeling of the 8K. Is that going to be 2 drops? Or are we actually going to go continue until we reach at 8K? I do not know. I don't feel there can be 1 or 2. I just feel there will be a low of 8. I already had created a video which became quite a bit of popular in Tom's group. Why we are seeing this, why this happened, why we dropped. And I still strongly believe too much of money left Bitcoin, went to altcoins, and then went into shit coins. Just an example, look at Doggy. A coin that never actually was designed to see a light of day, and probably was designed with one purpose only, is to pump and dump and take the money and run. But today, it became actually a coin of pet owners. Right now, quite a bit of society, but eventually will roll over and will be a coin of pet owners. So that's the reality. Sometimes shit coins can actually make it to somewhere that they should have never been made to. But a lot of money went to those coins. And now, those money will need to be pulled out either through market makers or through people, and they will need to be brought back into good, stable coins. In order to do that, the market has to rebound. People that will panic will need to run. Those coins will need to run to almost nothing. Those people that are still smart enough will cash out. And when the market starts turning around, they will take those money and put it into something better. Simply as that is what's supposed to happen, and that is what's going to happen. I don't see any other way. But this is a nice tool. Some of you out there that actually have been around and are around the markets long enough, let me know how to actually read this tool more properly, because end of the day, this seems actually quite an interesting tool which forecasts something. I'm just not exactly sure, other than actually seeing how market responds to it. I'm not sure I actually know how to read that tool properly and which section is supposed to refer to what as we go. So just kind of, some ideas for you guys to think about. And I personally rather have this kind of a dip where we break, I don't know, 14 maybe, 18. Have that strong bounce that will act as a spring, as if you were on a trampoline, pushing us to new highs. And unfortunately, I cannot go as high as I would like to exempt. So let's actually do something like this so you guys can understand. So we can spring off from, let's say 18. So we can spring off from 18, and here in the next couple months, be somewhere in, oh jeez, 500,000. I guess I can only dream, right? But hey, the dream can become reality too. But I think it will either take a huge spring or a small spring, small run up with a heavy fall right through the ice, like Tom says, calm down, probably this time then to the 8, have a strong push where then we can go over 500,000. Like somebody sells, Bitcoin can become $1 million coin, and we might actually be able to see it in next year if we find that very strong bottom. Blessings to all. Wanted to share something down those lines and see if you guys can actually see possibilities, and as well as understand what Tom is talking about. He's referring, we need to find that bottom. That bottom is filled with pressure and gold. The gold of taking us to the new heights. All we have to do be smart and react on it. Let me pull back and look at this one more time. We're now looking on a daily chart. As you guys can see, one day it took it down. The second day it took it down, brought it back up. And then we continued. That is something that's strong that we're looking for. Another example of that, and let me reset the chart, is we have here this very strong candle. Honestly, this candle should have reacted to that jump that we were talking about. But unfortunately, something did slow it down. And I think nothing more than heavy loads of orders at 30,000, because 30,000 is actually a big round number. Like 30, 40, 50, 60, 20, 10. Those are actually very strong numbers, and people have a tendency to create a lot of orders on those numbers. And that might be the vacuum that actually, as we were springing out, actually created and slowed this push back out. So we are looking for something like this candle again. But this time, since we already removed and continuing to remove that 30,000 volume of orders, when we're going to be coming up this time, there'll be nothing to slow us down. So we will actually have some energy to pump, like Tom says, probably around 40 to 50 or so. Blessings to all of you. Till the next time.